Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy back, finally, with a little bit of a special video today for after about probably 2 years of on and off work on this man. The updated articulation Freddy Fazbear is finally complete, and now I will be giving you the review of him. So, besides from a couple of little paint cleanups maybe, and putting a clear coat on him so that the paint's all protected, this guy is pretty much donezo. And I'm very excited about that because this is one of my big projects that I've been working on for a super long time, that I've actually really wanted to be done for a long time. Now, moving this man out of the way, I'm just gonna jump right in. For some of the parts I used on this guy, the base torso himself is, of course, ripped from the original Freddy Fazbear figure from Wave 1. Now, all I really did was I cut the torso in half. I took all the pieces out and pretty much just harvested the body itself. And for the legs, I used legs and arms. I used the Chocolate Freddy because when he came out, he had the best articulation scheme on any of them. So what I did was I pretty much took these arms and legs and all the connector pieces, and I put them in this body. So now that's the main torso we got right here. And then for the head, I customized the Frost Bear head because it has the best look for the most accurate original Freddy, because he doesn't have any upper teeth, and I think the head just looks pretty good. I think it's probably one of the better looking heads out of all of these. I think it's got the right hat, right everything. So what I did pretty much, we'll bring these in, give you a first look at the head. What I did pretty much was I got rid of all the icicles hanging down, the little mistletoe on the hat I dremeled off, and then that was really all I had to do. And then I just repainted over the head, and I made it look like original Freddy. Now, the one problem I have so far, well, I'll wait for the paint to get to that, but the head worked pretty well. I think it turned out good because the head, like the shape and everything, it looks a little big on this body, but it's still, I think it works because Freddy, in the original game, I was kind of going for accuracy, kind of not. It was like a middle ground kind of thing. And I think Freddy in the original game looks the most like that. His head is a little big, his ears are huge, he's a little misproportioned. So I think it's perfectly fine to do it like this. And I actually do like the way it turned out. So now, moving on to the sculpting I had to do. The head, I did a little bit of light sculpting on around the ears and everything, just to kind of clean up the place where the pieces were, the icicles and everything. And then the arms and legs were where I did the most sculpting, because I pretty much just took this guy and I just filled in all the cracks and crevices. This is going to be a little bit not focused, but I pretty much took this figure and I just filled in the cracks in the arms and the bite taken out in the leg, and that was pretty much all the sculpting I had to do. Besides from at the waist here for the original Freddy, I cut it up and I used figurized standard leg joints, the drop down legs. So now this man's got some really good leg articulation, and that's the only other thing I changed. I just took pretty much exactly what they use in the legs for the figurized standard and just sculpted it into the Freddy legs, and it fits really well. And the joints are a perfect fit for FNAF joints, like the leg ones. They fit perfectly. So if you want that update, you can saw open a figurized standard and smack your Freddy Fazbear with good legs. Now, moving on to the paint. I usually never did this, but I think it's something I should have done, is show you guys the paint I actually use. So for the brown on this man, the whole brown, I used these two right here. I used chestnut and a little bit of that elephant gray. Now these two came perfectly for that kind of brown. It looks a little, like when I was mixing it, it looks more orangey, and I still can't really tell if it is perfect brown or not, or even close, but I think it turned out decent enough. And it looks a little orangey when you mix it up, but when you actually let it dry, it turns out to look more like this. It might still be orangey, and the paint might not even be close enough. I'm just kind of winging it, because if you didn't know, I'm a little bit colorblind, so I just got to try and go with it. No matter how many times I'll ask somebody, I still never know if it's perfect. Now, for the little snout and all the other browns here, I used this Mondo Llama. Got this stuff from Target. It's that snuggly teddy bear. Let's go. Perfect for my snuggly teddy bear over there. And this is this, I think I put a little bit of black in it, or a little bit of chestnut. It was either a dab of chestnut or just a tiny bit of that big old black. You know what you gotta do. When you paint, you gotta have a lot of black. And for the bow tie and everything, I did just use just a regular old black. And then for the eyes, I use a regular white. I use this whatever brand, Apple Barrel. This is what I use. They got it at Target and Walmart, so it goes easy. But I used the white for the eyes. It got a little bit rough. I think the eyes are the only thing that I may go back and redo, because the white looks a little bit rough, and the way I put it on just didn't go smooth. And then the blue, the eyes are a little bit off-centered, but I don't think they're the worst. May just leave it, I don't know. And for the eyes, I used just a regular old blue, and I used, let me see if I can snag it. I have it right on deck. I'll pull up the crate, see if I got it in here. No. But what I used, all I did was take like something with a round tip, and I just dipped it in the paint and then carefully poked the eye with it, and it makes a pretty good circle, and it works pretty decently for putting eyes. That's how I did the dots on the snout. I used a little thing and just poked it 3 times, and it worked perfectly. This is my first time customizing like a actual figure like this. Usually my expertise in customizing is putting a wash on a figure or something like that. I never went all the way in like this with actually having to make clean lines and all that kind of stuff. And it wasn't the worst. It's a lot of trial and error. So if you guys want to do this yourself, don't get well, whatever the word would be, don't stop doing it because you're sad, you're thinking it's not going to work out. Just keep trying, and eventually you'll get those perfect lines. You'll get the perfect dots on the nose. Oh, I did these dots on the nose. Even you can see this side's a little messed up. I did it so many times, I just couldn't keep doing it. I just said, that's good enough, I'm done. So don't get discouraged, that's the word. If you're doing your own and it's going bad, it's not working out, keep trying, because eventually you'll get the right look you're looking for. Now, moving on to the articulation. The articulation was the main thing I tried to upgrade here. Not too bad. I think Freddy Fazbear isn't a character that needs a lot of articulation, but I think the little upgrade I gave him is pretty decent enough. So at the head, he looks up pretty decent. I made the hole in the neck a little too big, so his head is floppy. But he looks down, not really that much, too big of a chin. Of course, the usual everything on the head, so you get your swivels all around. The head isn't different much, but the arms and legs are what I went for. So moving down to the shoulder here, let me move his head, I already know what's going to happen. His arm goes up pretty straight. Of course, you get your usual rotation. Nothing is inhibited with the upgrades. Nothing got lost. We only gained here, only W's here. So over here, you can see the first joint I just did like double ball pegs into all the arms and legs. That's kind of just the scheme I went for, and I think it worked out pretty well. Before I even get into it, I'll show you guys how I did it. I bought this thing off of the eBay. I think I don't know what company it is. Hobby Base right there, Hobby Base. If you need these work pretty perfectly. They have the different sizes, so I use these size for the arms, went a little bit bigger for the legs, and all you got to do is pop the sockets out, Dremel a little bit of hole in, glue the parts in, and then you can just stick them together with the ball pegs, and it works pretty perfectly. The only problem is the way they're made, the clear, it's a little bit like if you want to paint over them, the paint isn't going to really stick, and it's going to look holey and bad, which is why I just kept them clear, and I don't even think that's bad at all. So now, we'll move on to the actual articulation itself. At the arm here, the elbow bends about that much. The way the arms work, there's little slots in the like where it pegs in. So if you line it up right, you'll get better articulation. If you don't, it'll be a little bit worse. But you get your full range of motion. You can do that if you want. It's just nice to have the wider range. You get them in a nice waving pose. You could maybe get him in the running pose. You can get in a lot of decent standing there looking creepy poses, which is kind of all I really wanted, because Freddy Fazbear doesn't do much. He likes to lurk in the darkness. So at the wrist here, my original plan was going to be to get interchangeable hands, but the way their hands are put on and made, I think it might only be with the new ones. I don't know what magic they used to get them to stay on, but I could not get one off without breaking it and ruining it. So I just decided I'm going to Dremel out the middle of the hands on this one so he can hold the microphone right, and that's that. So the hands, all I really did was Dremel out that little, he has like the puff in his hand, the little piece in the middle. I don't know what you would call it, but he's got that, so I just got rid of that, and then that's it. The hands are exactly the same, usual rotation, and now he can hold the mic a little better. So for the waist and anything, I didn't really want to mess with cutting this guy in half and then trying to give him a waist rotation or even an ab crunch. This man would not need an ab crunch. And I think it doesn't change it that much. The body looks, I feel like maybe I should have made him a little bigger. He looks a little thin, but it's not the worst. The paint turned out pretty good. I like the colors, and the bow tie, of course, looking tremendous. So now getting down to the legs, this is where the real party gets started. At the drop down joint, you can literally just drop the leg straight down, kick it forward super far. It goes back really good. If this man needs to sprint, he can fly. At the legs too, they go out to the side super far. And this is that part where it's like unneeded articulation, because what am I ever going to make Freddy do the splits? But it's just, I don't know, why not? It worked out pretty well, I guess. Now at the knee, he again has the double ball peg going on. In this one, you can really see it. I just put the piece down at the bottom piece, drilled into the top of the leg, stuck that sucker in there, and then clipped them together with the fat dumbbell peg. And it worked pretty well. You can get some nice range of movement on his leg. The clearance is pretty perfect, and I think it all works out very well. The feet, going down to them, I did not ever do anything for the articulation to them. I was thinking originally I had a plan. I was going to steal the, Figure Eye standard ankle pegs, like just the straight peg, and just put the foot on like that. But I tried it and it really didn't turn out well. The articulation didn't work and it just looked terrible. So I just decided this man's good enough that with the new leg articulation, the lower feet can move side to side like that. So if I really need to, I can kind of cheese an ankle pivot. So I thought no need to mess with the overall look of the figure, because I think the look is way better when the ankles aren't 6 feet apart. Like there was a big hole and there was just a peg sticking straight down. It wasn't good. So I just kept it with this. And that's that for articulation. It's not as much of an updated articulation figure as I was expecting at the beginning. Like I was thinking this was going to be a completely different figure with all double, triple jointed elbows, quadruple jointed legs or something. But it turned out he really didn't even need that. And in the end, it turned more into a updated look Freddy, like an accurate Freddy. I don't know. The name Update Articulation, I like it though, so it's staying. So now, moving on to comparisons for this man. We'll start off with some of my earlier customs, just to give a little showing of how the evolution, I guess. So over here, first big custom, I guess, would be the Withered Golden Freddy. And then my man Nightmare Freddy, because he was in the front of the shelf. Yeah, I think the height on this guy is not bad. Of course, the look, I think, turned out pretty well. Let me know if you think it's a little bit off, a little bit on, I don't know. I think it was trying to be completely accurate when I first started, and then it just kind of, I thought, I don't know if I can get completely accurate, so I just went with it. I went with the flow. And now, I'm going to compare him here to the original wave. I don't have any of these figures' original versions close, so we're bringing the random ones. I will probably later be posting a pic on Instagram, and I might even make another video about it, I don't know, of the show stage. I'm going to bust it out, and I've got to put all the classic figures on there, just for the old time's sake, get some nice flicks of that, make it look good. But that is just about that. For some final thoughts on this guy, I gotta say, it was really fun. The whole, the process making him was a lot of fun, and it's almost one of those, it's the journey, not the destination kind of things. Because the figure, it really didn't turn out as crazy as I was hoping, but I still like it. I think it was, the whole time making it, I had a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun drawing out articulation schemes or going on eBay trying to deep dive, finding cheap FNAF figures so I won't break the wallet to make this man look good. And I have about 3 Frost Bear bodies hanging around right now and a Chocolate Freddy torso sawed in half. But that's about that. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for sticking with me on the journey. It's been a long time with this. And I hope you guys had a good time watching, a good time looking at this figure. Maybe you can make fun of it, make some jokes, laugh about it. I don't know. Have a good one, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.